The United States Supreme Court is the third branch of the American government, and I'm going to take you on a full, complete, and comprehensive tour. Not only that, but I'm going to show you how you can do it on the same day for absolutely free. Love it or hate it, the Supreme Court is a source of controversy to many Americans. Many feel that the court has become very politicized, but regardless of how you feel, it is the third branch of government. And I'm going to show you how to get there again for absolutely free. For those of you who are not familiar with my channel, I'm going to tell you where it's located. If you can find the United States Capitol building, directly behind the Capitol building, behind the mall, is going to be the Supreme Court. What many people don't realize is that the Supreme Court is not at all difficult to get into. In fact, you can get a ticket on the very same day. All you have to do, if you're facing the building, go to the very right and get there early and stand in line. Now, I'll say this, if there's a hot case, you'll have to wait for days, but most of the time you can get there by getting there very early and waiting the same day. Now, you can also call ahead and reserve tickets. That's a difficult process, but really you can, for the most part, stand in line and get in for absolutely free. And you can actually see the court hearing, you can hear the arguments, you can see the judges walk in and out, you can get to hear them ask questions. It is absolutely an extremely memorable event. If you are at all familiar with Washington, D.C., you know that there's going to be lots of security, a heavy security presence, especially around the Supreme Court. Now, that line I told you about earlier, this is it right here. These people are here early in the morning. As you can see, it's not too early because it's not dark, and they're just waiting in line for basically to get into the Supreme Court that very day. Most all of these people will get an opportunity to get inside the Supreme Court. Those of you familiar with my channel know that I specialize in fun and interesting things for individuals and families to do in the DC area. The best way that you can support my channel is to like and subscribe. The most important thing to note in getting inside the Supreme Court is that they take security extremely seriously. Therefore, if you have anything that can reasonably be perceived as a weapon, do not, and I say again, do not try to enter the building with that. If you want to memorialize your event, there are very serious restrictions on cameras being used inside the courthouse. That means you can't take any videography, no video cameras. You can't have your cell phones that are on. There's going to be a locker where you have to put all your stuff in, and there are multiple security checks before you actually get into the courthouse. Now, because we can't take a video inside the court, this is what inside the court looks like, and it's a surreal experience. You hear about this, you read about it in the history books, and to actually get there and to see the justices walking, you see them on television all the time, is really a memorable experience. Now, where we are right now is in the main lobby before we get to the court, and as you can see, it has a lot of history. Now, there is no tour, so there's going to be nobody to walk you through and explain what happens or what you're seeing, and that's one of the downsides of visiting Supreme Court. You have to basically know about the history yourself, because there's really, unless you are reading all of this stuff and you have a background as to who the justices are, all this stuff is going to be new and foreign to you. Here's a bit of history about the Supreme Court that most people don't know. Now, it was articulated in the Constitution that there was going to be a Supreme Court, but there was no real housing for it. So what they did was they put it inside the basement of the congressional building. So what that meant was that it was a dark, dim, gloomy kind of a space, and you can see more about that in one of my videos that talks about viewing and touring the National Capitol building for absolutely free. So check that out on my channel. Much of the decor in the hallways leading to the Supreme Court are photographs of justices and statues of justices who have served on the Supreme Court. And we're dealing with a smaller number, only about 116. So unless you have a history of who these justices are, it's going to be foreign to you. the time I took my tour, these are the justices that sat on the bench, and I was fortunate that most all the justices at the time asked questions. Now, if you're wondering what the court looks like, this is exactly what it looks like, down to the very last detail. As far as courtroom etiquette is concerned, they don't tolerate any noise or disturbance of any type, and there is a heavy security presence within the court. When you leave the court, you'll find this gift shop where you can get something to commemorate your visit, and also don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching.